Hi everybody, this is Zishan Haider, the co-founder and CEO of Job and Hub. And today I would like to once again talk to you job seekers about a very important topic, which is a recurring topic in your life. Today's topic is how online job and skills tests are standardized. Okay, so what are standardized tests really? Everybody heard about them, but nobody really knows what goes on behind the standardization. Let's give an example of what kinds of standardized tests are used in general day-to-day life. So there's SAT, there's TOEFL exam, there's GMAT. All of these exams are standardized. So standardization is basically you have a raw score in a test. Okay, you have the test. There's a certain score that you get in the test, but your score will be objectively measured against other people of the same norm group, which means the same background as you. So there's many different ways of defining this background, but in the job industry, two that are commonly used is job experience and age range. So these are very important because it defines the maturity of the job applicant. It defines the job experience. It adds a very realistic measure to compare yourself to other people through. So that's why when you hear that you have a 1400 or something in the SAT or 2100, any score, this is a standardized score. This is not just a raw score. Okay, and that's the most important thing. How do we apply this into the job industry? Okay, and why are we doing this? Well, I'd like to start with talking about online job tests. What are they? So basically, you apply to a job post on Job and Hub, and after applying, you have to take a test. Okay, this is a standardized test, and this is for that specific job post. So 3,000 applicants are applying to that one job post. How is your CV differentiated? Well, it's differentiated through the marks that you get from a specific test, as well as your skills tests. So what happens when you apply to that test? 3,000 people are applying, and there's multiple norm groups. There's multiple groups that have qualities that are similar to you, and they're in clusters. So those norm groups, you're going to be marked against them. And in terms of skills tests, these are tests that you can basically take in your own free time, just to spice up your resume a little bit, right? So the common phenomenon is that job seekers don't get jobs when they apply through job boards, and that's actually very bad because that's the main point of a job board. Why is that? There's no testing mechanism, right? So what we do is we offer tests, and these are customized job tests which are attached to job posts, and also these are the skills tests which you can take in your own free time, and basically your good scores will be shown on your profile and is going to quantifiably prove your skills, your abilities in certain skills. So it takes a screenshot. So how is this process done? This looks very complicated, but I'm gonna break it down for you. Say for example your name is Mofiz, okay? And you got a raw score of 55%. Okay, this is your raw score, and it's X, the variable X, okay? And your norm group is basically the age range of 20 to 25 years, and the job experience of 1 to 3 years, because your actual job experience is 2 years, we put it in a range, right? Once you put it in a range, it's much easier to do a calculation. So your norm group has 600 people in it. That's N, okay, the number of people in your norm group. And the average raw score, X bar, okay, that's a statistical term, that's 51.25%. So you already know that your standardized score is actually better than average, because you see the average marks 51.25%, your one's 55%, your one's above average, okay? Even though you got a pretty bad score. So that's the beauty of standardization. If everybody else in your norm group has done a bad score and you have a good score, that means that you stand above average. And this actually improves accuracy in terms of hiring when it comes to job tests. How is the calculation done? So first of all, everything is plotted onto a cumulative frequency distribution graph, okay? So N is the y-axis. N is basically the number of people who are achieving a certain range of marks. So what we did for convenience's sake, and this should be done to create a standard normal distribution curve, what we did was basically it's 0 to 9, okay, then 10 to 20% marks. Okay, so the x-axis is the raw scores, what are the marks, right? And then basically we took the midpoints, right? So 4.5% is the midpoint of 0 to 9%. That's a range, right? So the midpoint is used. The midpoint is used in this equation right here. So midpoint and frequency are the two main important factors when doing this standard normal distribution curve. So there's a few different prerequisites or assumptions that we have to make when transforming this graph into this curve, right? And two of the most obvious ones is that the mean and the median of this is supposed to be the same, because you see the highest point over here is the median, but the mean is not always the highest point. But what we're assuming is that both of them are equal. So once that happens, you can actually you can plot out a curve like this. Okay, so you see on the x-axis what's going on. It says mu equals 0. Mu is basically the mean, okay, which is x bar. That's 0. So if we make this 0, then obviously Mofiz's score in relation to the 0 will be higher, right? It's going to be higher because the mean score is 51.25% and Mofiz's score is 55%, so it's above average. So it lies over here. But how do we get this calculation? How do we get the specific numbers? That's what the most important thing is. So this is the Z formula, okay? It basically converts the average scores into the standardized score. That's what a Z score is, okay? But we're going to use this formula for precise purposes, and basically the formula is x minus x bar over s. What does this mean? X is obviously your raw score. X bar is the average raw score of your norm group, of whoever else is within 20 to 25 years old and has 1 to 3 years of job experience, okay? And S is the standard deviation. It's a very normal formula. This basically, if you divide the difference between your score and the standard score and use this as the denominator, then that's basically standardizing it, because the standard deviation is the midpoint squared multiplied by the frequency, and you add it for every single score, and you subtract the square of the mean multiplied by n, which is the sample space, which is 600 people in this scenario, and then you divide it by n minus 1. It's all a part of the formula of standard deviation, right? So you put a root over all of this and then you get the standard deviation. It's a little bit complex and it requires a lot of monotonous calculations, and this entire process, by the way, is going to be automated in Job and Hub into the software. So if you basically do a test, then it spits out your raw score plus also a standardized score, if we have sufficient sample space within each norm group, okay? The minimum number of people within a sample space for a statistical calculation to be accurate is around 30 people, okay? So we have 600 people, this is well above accurate. Now, this formula is also very important. This is the mu, right? This is the mean, and it's exactly the same as x bar. This is a midpoint multiplied by frequency, and the addition of you add all of that, right? So each midpoint multiplied by the frequency. So the frequency of this midpoint, which is 4.5%, it's like, let's say 30 people, right? You multiply that plus you multiply the midpoint of this by that, and you divide it by the addition of f, which is the frequency, right? How many people in this? How many people in this? How many people in it? It all adds up to 600. So we use these two formulas and we plug it into this main formula, which is the z-score formula, and then we calculate the z-score. So what is it? 55%. This is the marks that Mofiz got, and this is the average raw score of other people in the same norm group. So, and this is the standard deviation, 22.4. So if you plug all of these numbers into this formula, then you get a z-score of 1.67. What does this indicate? If the average is 0, right? So average equals 0 because that's what the standard normal distribution is. The mean is 0 now, okay? We've shifted from the mean being this to it being the base, the underlying score, okay? So 51.25% is actually now 0 over here, and it's all been shifted. So your marks in the scheme of this is basically this entire thing. What does this even mean? This is actually an area. You have to calculate the area. So probability of z equals 1.67, which is the z-score over here, that probability is 95.25%. So you're actually in the 95th percentile, and that's what percentile ranking is about. Percentile ranking is your specific ranking against other people in your norm group. So that means you're well above average. If people see that your standardized score is the 95th percentile, then you have a very high chance of getting hired. So these are actually statistical concepts, and if you want to learn further about it, then do some research on statistics. And obviously I will be creating more videos about this, a little more in depth, but that will be later. So I hope you learned regarding what standardization is and how it plays a huge role in our lives, and especially in JobandHub's testing systems. It hasn't launched yet. We will launch in like 1 to 2 months. Okay, so until then, get ready, sign up on JobandHub, okay? Comment, like, subscribe, share our videos, support us, you know, spread the word about JobandHub, because we're trying to become like the next billion-dollar app, okay? And we believe in it, and we just need other people to believe in us too. So thank you very much, and I'll talk to you guys next time.
You see a lot of girls play to pretend when the spilled ink leaks to the bottom of the pan. He with the microphone should have been a gym coach. Swap bad grades for Chanel and designer.